And welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that duct tape, also regaling some times past when we did have our Spanish intro for Milk and Kuro. And soon we're about to have that here for the grand finals of Sparkling Tuna Cup number 19.
Help. No, it's cool. I got this. Lo
tienes, papi, lo tienes. No te preocupes. Aquí tenemos en la esquina superior de la mapa Data C. Tenemos el... un momento. Tenemos presentándonos el Canadacia, el máximo de los máximos, el estrella Norteamérica en ascenso del mar por el jugador rojo. Ríndelos. Tírate su ga para el rojo Protoss. Él es TriGGeR.
Yeah, cool. Mine kind of sounds like that too. Which one's which? Desove en la esquina inferior izquierda el jugador muy loco jugando para Juggernauts, representado Vietnam, es el poderoso, el muy loco, MeomaikA.
I love it, papi. I love it. El muy poderoso, papi. Muy grande también, grande. Firm, if you would. Very. We gotta bring it back.
You're losing, man. You're losing.
Let's go. Oh my god. No. Mate, A for effort. Like, I stumbled across. Man, I'm trying to say words that I've never said before in Spanish. I know what the hell I'm saying, all right? Oh my god. I was trying to say give it up for TriGGeR, but I think I said something else instead. I don't know.
Give your money away for TriGGeR.
Oh my god. Send it up high for El TriGGeR.
Raise it, brother.
Let's go. As we see a pool first opening here, TriGGeR, playing this very safely, actually goes for a second pylon as a part of his wall.
Yeah, nice response here from TriGGeR. It does mean that he can skip the Zealot. If he gets in any trouble, he can just throw down the extra pylon to shore up that wall. At the same time, he is just using his probe again and again just to get as much information as he can, kind of similar to what we saw with Nicaract, trying to get all the information that he's allowed to before the scout is turned away. And he will also send his Adept out.
Oh, yeah, that he will. The first Adept is already moving out across the map here for TriGGeR. Again, a relatively, I don't know, like, it's a pretty interesting turn of events here, because even though we saw a pool first opening from MeomaikA, he didn't make any lings whatsoever. He only went for his queen, so pretty greedy response. And TriGGeR, he didn't flinch, he wasn't forced to make a Zealot or anything like that. So this first Adept is going to be devastating.
Yeah, nice control there with the Adept as well. Does cancel the Shade to try to get the extra damage on the drones. Will get one already for his troubles. Possibly get the second one, but no. Nice micro from Meo just to use those Spore Tricks to save all those damaged drones. And we are seeing as well, he did get a little bit of extra information. He did see that there was no lings. He saw all these extra drones starting up. Meo does actually let the Spores finish. I'm sure he'll just use them later for the defense and does send that one up into the main. But that's a lot of information already, and he even sends a second Adept.
Yeah.
Very high value on that information.
Second Adept does get into the main base, and he's going to get another drone again. We were being very light here for MeomaikA, and as a result, 2 more drones go down. He will clean this up, but again, at least we got a full scout off from TriGGeR as well, confirming everything, confirming no early lair. I say that, as soon as the Adepts die, we see a lair.
Yeah, pretty solid punish on the skip of the lings, but this is something we saw with Nicaract as well. He was able to get so much damage done with his Reaper against the greed of MeomaikA to skip the lings altogether, but Meo really never seems fazed by these sort of things. It's one of his strengths as a player that he just kind of goes for stuff, and like things that would be discouraging for other players and setbacks for other players, he just kind of flows through the game really nicely despite the setbacks.
Yeah, you think you're setting him back, but really he's used to being set back. That's where he thrives. That's where he lives. under the sea. And we'll see where this takes us, because likewise TriGGeR is also being relatively greedy. Goes for his Stargate opener. As a follow-up, he goes straight into a Twilight Council and a Forge, so this looks like he wants to go into that hero style of a Blink Stalkers. Did open up with double Oracle, not triple Oracle though.
Yeah, maybe just a bit of a reaction to the shortness of the map and the strangeness of the play coming out from the other side, but we actually see for the first time today, coming out from Meo, a Spire.
Interesting. This is a bit of a shame here for MeomaikA, because the revelation of TriGGeR actually saw the Spire. So he has seen it. He knows that Spire tech is going to be, or mutas are going to be on the horizon here, unless, of course, we see a cancel.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how this turns out. I've got to say, I haven't really seen anyone go for mutas against this hero style. And if anyone can make it work, I think it's Meo, because the simple logic is that Blink Stalkers should be good against mutas, but I'm starting to learn with Meo that you can't really take those things on face value, because he just makes so many more units than anyone else.
Yeah, Meo is there to prove you wrong. And on top of that, you know, you expect to see a lot of mutas, but we see a massive wave of Lings coming out here for MeomaikA. I imagine he wants to apply a little bit of pressure here across the map at the third base. We do have plenty of shield batteries on the way though, so it looks like TriGGeR is setting himself up defensively back at home. He isn't throwing down any cannons yet either. He's playing this relatively greedily against mutas that are being made.
Yeah, and interestingly, in addition to the mutas, we have seen a lot of Lings made from Meo. I think he is going to make a strong commitment on this natural, and TriGGeR really respecting this, going for a third and fourth shield battery.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of shield batteries made. There's a lot of surface area, there's a lot of potential there for that overcharge as well. These Lings are going to have a hard time finding any damage whatsoever. They dip in, but they just can't really find too much, and MeomaikA is forced to drone up, and he even techs into Hydras.
Yeah, very interesting. I am starting to see how this is shaping up. I could see how the mutas and the Lings have quite a formidable force to take map control. This is one of the objectives of the Protoss when they're going for this Blink Stalker opening, is to take control of the map, but Meo says no, like, this is my map, I'm going to take control of it, and the mutas do a very good job of that. It's the same sort of job that mutas do versus Terran, but it's a nice recall that he's done here to take out some of these mutas.
Yeah, despite that, like 10 workers go down. The mutas, for the most part, have survived this as well. Meanwhile, the Lings, I thought they were going to go and try and cancel the fourth base, but for the moment, they are being left idle here. A lot of Lings going down to this Oracle.
Yeah, this Oracle just kind of playing tag with these Lings manages to damage nearly every single one of them. And meanwhile, this Stalker movement from TriGGeR is fantastic. He's doing a very good job tracking these mutas, but the mutas are still getting their damage.
Yeah, 15 workers have gone down. I mean, TriGGeR does have a fourth base behind this, and he's not that far behind when it comes to the worker count anyway. Does catch a couple of those mutas on the backside as well. What's important though is that, again, the time for mutas has come and gone. MeomaikA is going into those Hydras.
Yeah, fascinatingly, this is the mutas are normally something that you want to snowball. They're something where you want to pick up little bits of damage here and there without sacrificing too many mutas, and eventually get to a overwhelming force of like upwards of 30 mutas. But Meo just using them quite differently. Always one to kind of use his tools a little bit differently from other players. Gets the damage with the drones and is transitioning now, and I don't believe TriGGeR has seen any of the Hydras yet.
Yeah, he hasn't seen any. I was worried that maybe the Oracles would actually catch sight of them and catch wind of them, but no, the Hydras avoided them entirely. Meanwhile, TriGGeR, his army is set up here at the fourth base location, not so much at the third. He still has all those shield batteries from earlier, but the mutas actually pull away the Stalkers.
Yeah, beautiful movement here. Gets the Lings all right on top of these batteries, and he's going to take out every single one. Really cool force fields coming out from TriGGeR to try to protect those batteries, but it's just not enough. And there's an overwhelming amount of units on this base now, taking out these probes as well.
And the force field's kind of zoned himself away from his third base. The Hydra's doing a lot of damage. The Lings are being cleaned up though, so MeomaikA has to be careful not to lose too much here. But oh my god, the reinforcements come in anyway, and the Hydra's doing an insane amount of damage.
Yeah, TriGGeR, for his own benefit though, he does drop back to the shield battery, and with all, as you were referring to, without the Lings to support the Hydras, the Stalkers can just use the Blinks to take very favorable trades here, and very nice micro coming out from TriGGeR. Suddenly he has an overwhelming amount of Stalkers.
Yeah, like we can't afford to lose Hydras, not like this. Lings are trying to close the distance. We have +1 melee on the way, but it only just now started. Finally, Hydra's speed finishes up as well. Lings are trying to keep these Stalkers busy while the rest of the Lings and the reinforcements take out more probes here at the third base, but it's just not enough to break TriGGeR.
Yeah, beautiful Stalker control coming out from TriGGeR. Takes out so much of this army. Even manages to save the base. That is huge for him. It has so much chrono on it. There's so much potential for this base. Barely takes any hull damage whatsoever. And he has a lot of Stalkers left to start to mount a counter attack of his own. But Mio just keeps making links.
Yeah, and I just love that MeomaikA is unfazed. He has a lurker den behind this. He's like, nah, yeah, I know where to go from here. We just have more lings on the way, lurkers on the way as well. What's important though is he has to keep these Hydras alive. He is not working with a lot of gas right now. He has to save them as best he can. The Hydras are starting to be focused down here, but the ling reinforcements coming in from behind.
Yeah, TriGGeR has a very significant advantage here to be able to feel confident pushing forward with Stalkers. Usually Stalkers on creep against Lings is not going to be a favorable trade, but the numbers are just overwhelming in his favor, and GG is cool.
GG. TriGGeR, he weathers that storm. He defends against the Muta aggression, against the Ling aggression, goes for that counterattack. And again, MeomaikA was just bleeding out a little bit too much. Trying to transition into those lurkers, he just needed more time. But TriGGeR knew that he had the lead, he had that momentum, and he just went for it, mate.
Very nicely done there by TriGGeR. Very clean game coming out from him. Just takes the trades that he needs to take, manages to get his probes evacuated, doesn't manage to lose the base at all, which even if he did lose the base, I think he would have been in an okay position, but yeah, pretty flawless, really.
Oh yeah, very well done, very well done. I think something that we have to bear in mind, and MeomaikA actually just tweeted about this, both Mio and TriGGeR are very active players on the North American ladder. They do play it quite a bit, and they are very familiar with each other as a result of it. So yeah, I'm sure TriGGeR, this is the first time he's gone toe-to-toe with MeomaikA.
Yeah, interesting. So it is something I have noticed. Mio's been playing the NA ladder a little bit more recently. So yeah, we do see both these players have quite respectable ratings on the NA ladder as well. So both very active players.
Exactly. We'll find out who is really the king of North American ladder here in Sparkling Tuna Cup. Here we go as we are diving into game number 2. I also want to give a quick shout out as well because we've been doing a pretty poor job of it, but massive shout out to both Daunted and Phoenix. They both did resubscribe for 33 and 48 months in a row respectively, so thank you so much for all of the support to both Daunted and Phoenix. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to Grant. I should have mentioned this earlier. We need to work on this. But we do have a Matcherino page for this tournament for Sparkling Tuna Cup. Exclamation mark Matcherino in the chat if you want to support the tournament. If you want to support the tournament just like Grant, who did contribute 10 USD to the prize pool.
Yeah, all those contributions go straight to the players. So thank you very much for that. It's much appreciated.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of the players, here we have, spawning in the bottom right hand corner as the red Protoss. He is playing for Team Super. It is the Canadian TriGGeR.
And spawning in the top left hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire ESL, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player himself representing the Juggernauts. Down in this series, but not out, because mate, it's a best of 5. It is MeomaikA.
MeomaikA starting off with his customary pull first because he is muy loco.
Sí, papi, muy loco. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my god. It's just what he does. I mean, he's safe with it. I don't blame him because like this does kind of shut down any kind of like aggressive plays or like if we have a cannon rush or anything like that. And he just finds a way to bounce back economically anyway. Or I say that, but like he never really cares too much about his economy anyway, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm sure it's purely for defensive reasons, definitely.
Kappa, look, hey, dedicated pressure sometimes, okay? It was a response, all right? There were oracles in his base. What was he meant to do?
It's not his fault. He's playing Zerg. It's so hard.
True. Oh god, look, he's trying to find his own path, okay? He's not looking at the meta, looking at what all these players like Raynor and Cyril and Dark are doing. Nah, mate, he's finding his own way, okay?
Meanwhile, we do see a little bit of mineral harass coming out from that probe, but it does pay for it with its life. The links have been made, but TriGGeR does see all 4 of them, so he does have some idea of what's going on, and we do see very interesting. battery on the outside of the wall.
I love it. A very greedy move here. Again, he doesn't want to make a Zealot. He is aware that he's up against a pool first. This gets scouted here by MeomaikA, so he turns around with his Lings. Again, there's no intention to let this finish. It's just to buy time for the Adept, and then we can always cancel the shield battery.
Yeah, very interesting. Does offer the surface area on the battery rather than on the buildings. I guess that makes sense. And he does throw down another battery in a bit more of a safe position, opts not to send the Adept out this time. That is a bit of a mix-up that you can go for as the Protoss, sometimes sending the Adept, sometimes not. As long as you mix it up, it's not too easy to punish. And we do have the Starport going up in the main.
Oh yeah, so a pretty standard Stargate opener here from TriGGeR, but what isn't so standard is, one, MeomaikA is only on 2 bases, 2, he's also going straight for a lair.
Yeah, and ordinarily I would say this is probably going to be either a 2-base Muta or a Nidus, but as you have told me earlier, this can be literally anything, including Hydras,
yeah.
So I will wait and see.
I'm curious because it feels really early for Hydras, but he has 2 mining gases, right? So it shouldn't be for a Nidus. There it is.
Yeah, there we go, so... This is not really an option that I knew existed, to be honest. Normally when I see 2-base lair, I'm thinking Nidus or... Oh, let's go. Normally I'm thinking either like a Nidus or a Spire, but we do see Hydras, and it does look like he's starting to think about setting up a creep highway.
Yeah, and
we do see the arrows pointing exactly where it should go.
Exactly. This is kind of scattered though. The Oracle dips in. He hasn't seen the Hydrogen yet. Ooh, a little bit of greed here from MeomaikA. Doesn't have a Spore in the natural base, and the Hydrogen has been spotted.
Yeah, so really nice scout coming out from there. As you did refer to earlier, if these guys do play on ladder a lot, I'm sure TriGGeR will have a good feel for the kind of timings that he wants to go for a scout. We do see a ports coming out from TriGGeR, so hopefully nothing too wrong there. Just, yeah, there we go. Maybe just a small lag spike.
Maybe a small lag spike, maybe it's the sun getting in his eyes as it does rise over the horizon. So I know it's pretty early in the morning now for TriGGeR. The land of Canada.
That's horrifying. That's like the worst moment. I don't know if it's the same for everyone. Like maybe you get used to it if you have like enough degen late nights, which honestly I do anyway, but that feeling when the sun starts to rise up and you just get that like sick feeling in your stomach, it's not good.
Oh my god, we'll see though how good it is here, because TriGGeR, once again, he confirms the push. He sees that the Lings and Hydras are powering through these rocks, and TriGGeR has plenty of time to respond. We have 2 shield batteries at the 3rd base. Greedy move here. TriGGeR feeling confident that he can maybe even defend and keep and hold on to his 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with all the Oracle's vision that he's seen, he knows exactly what's going on here. He's seen the creep highway, he's seen the rocks broken down straight through the middle. He knows Meo's intentions, and he feels quite confident here to go for this defense. And we do see the Oracles focusing down the Hydras. I really like that as well. And the super battery is well protected by the other battery and units. And this is already a fantastic start to the defense.
Yeah, and I didn't even notice that we don't even have Ling speed here. That's how greedy gas-wise MeomaikA was being. And with the help of these shield batteries with the overcharge as well, the Lings, they do crumble, and so will these Hydras.
Yes, and Epipel Asdiva is called Z in response, and GG. I wonder if that means anything to them.
MeomaikA just in disbelief how well TriGGeR was able to defend. I mean, maybe we did need Link speed with that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was intentional to get a fast lair the way that he did. It was just such a shame that TriGGeR was able to just see everything coming. Like, he basically was playing with map packs. Like, he saw everything that MeomaikA was doing.
Yeah, I don't know if perhaps TriGGeR has faced this same build from MeomaikA before. Maybe MeomaikA used it before against him on ladder and it worked, and that was why he was expecting it to work again, or maybe he like generally has success with it on ladder. But it looks like TriGGeR knew exactly what to do. That was a very sharp defense. He knew how much he could commit and where he could defend it. Knew he didn't need to give up his 3rd or anything like that, and yeah, pretty flawless. Yeah,
that was like a really crisp timing with that overcharge as well. I don't know if you saw, but like when MeomaikA hit, the 3rd base wasn't done yet, and he killed one shield battery, and then as soon as the 3rd base finished, MeomaikA was trying to focus down those oracles with his Hydras, and overcharge just kept them alive, and so much wasted DPS was on those oracles, and Yeah, at that moment, it looked like the tide was turning in favor of TriGGeR. Like, that was so close.
Yeah, that was very well done. And so now we have, for the first time today, Tropical Scarface.
Oh. Take
I
it
will
away.
say nothing more. Alright. Spawning up in the top right-hand corner of the map, playing for Team Super, it is the Canadian Protoss in the red. Say hello to your little friend. It is TriGGeR.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Scarface, we have the player looking to send out his little friends, mate, going for a 12-pool opening, hailing from the land of Vietnam, representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA.
Are you talking to me?
That's not Scarface.
It's the same guy.
No,
it's the same guy. It's the same guy. I swear it's the same guy.
It's not Scarface. That's Taxi, mate. That's.
Isn't it the same actor?
I think so. Maybe. Is it Al Capone?
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no,
we see the probe coming up into the main for the scout.
No, isn't it Robert De Niro? It is. It is Robert De Niro.
That's not important. We do see the probe. Very nice for him that he went for the gate scout rather than for the block. Does see everything as fast as he can. Even steals a mineral. It's kind of rude. Even sees the hatch going down, so he sees everything he needs to see, and he's starting to mount his defense with the 2 gates and the cybercore back at home.
Yeah, Zelda's being chronoed out as well, so the wall is going to be a wall just in time. Meanwhile, the Lings here of MeomaikA, this time he made 10 in total, so a much more committed version compared to the 12 pool that we saw earlier. If he sees an opportunity, he will surround this Zealot, but again, he's looking to just chip away, deal some damage to this cybercore, maybe get a kill, just dance here with the units of his opponent.
Yeah, but really nice micro coming out for TriGGeR, already taking down a Ling. Manages to prevent very much damage at all being put onto this cybercore. I really like that he has the extra probe there as well behind the Zealot, just as a bit of extra insurance if the Lings do get in. But the Lings do get in, and that probe will be taken down. So a little bit of a slip there, and he does lose a second probe as well, the scouting probe.
Yeah, 2 probes go down there in the end. Was it worth it for 4 Lings? I don't know, because we've seen this dance before. Once the Protoss defends the 12 pool with 2 Zealots and with 2 Adepts, they're going to be going across the map. And if we lost too many Lings in the aggression, then MeomaikA may have a little bit of trouble defending.
Yeah, and this is the kind of standard response that we see coming back the other way. Usually 2 Zealots and 2 Adepts. Does actually opt to leave the extra Zealot at home, so I believe he has been burned before, and we do see the Overlord even checking for that. But yeah, interestingly, we can see how much more effective the 12 pool is on a map where you have to wall off with 3 buildings. We did see Meo, if you missed it earlier on, did go for a 12 pool against a map where you can wall off with 2 buildings, and it was a very curious choice.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't really work out his way in the end. That was against Luna C earlier in the quarterfinals, but here we are in the grand finals, and I mean, he was forced to make another wave of Lings as well. Ideally, they would have been drones here for MeomaikA, so again, he's forced to have his economy hindered even further. We see a recall, and TriGGeR will not lose a single adept.
Yeah, saves those adepts. And as TriGGeR, this is exactly what you want coming out from the 12 pool opening. Without the Ling speed, it is really hard to punish those units. With the delayed Ling speed, it is really hard to punish those units coming across the map. In fact, it looks like he's not gone for Ling speed at all.
Yeah, just like the previous game, he skips Ling speed and goes for a much faster lair instead. He's not pulling out of gas, by the way. So it looks like, especially with taking the second gas, it looks like he wants to go for a fast hydrogen again.
Yeah, very interesting, because to be quite frank, it didn't go that well in the last game, so I'm kind of interested in the decision to go for it again. Maybe he's thought of some adjustment that he can make. Maybe he is aiming to feign it a little bit and then go for eco himself. We've already seen that I think he does have a lot more drones than he did last time, and he's gone for a third hatch as well.
Yeah, he has a third hatchery. He has a spore in his main base. Another big difference is that he does have link speed on the way as well, so that will help with the reinforcements. Lair's about to finish up. This should be spotted here by TriGGeR as the queens actually try and zone him away, but the revelation does reveal that Lair, and it is for the Hydrogen.
Yeah, Lair has been revelated and the Hydrogen is scouted. It does pick off a drone on the way through as well, even a second drone. And on his way out, he should see the third base as well. So TriGGeR sees everything.
Very beautiful scouting here by TriGGeR. But again, MeomaikA is looking to be in a little bit of a better position compared to the previous game. Also, he's droning up even further. So again, like, even though he's going for all of this early tech, even though it looks like a very similar build to the last game, he's doing it in a very different manner.
Ah, and he takes out an Oracle. Very nice there. Good focus fire coming out from the Queen. Does lose 2 drones, but 2 drones for an Oracle, that is a very good trade, especially considering he is droning quite a lot. So it's a little bit less punishing to lose drones in this situation than it was in the previous game, for example.
Definitely. Meanwhile, the last remaining Oracle tries to get a little bit more damage done, but the Queens this time are in position. No more drones are taken out here. Not this time. And now here we go. Hydras are on the way. Speaking of TriGGeR, he also has been taking up in his own side on the map. He has been going for Blink. What's interesting is that this time he is not going for a Forge. So he's not going for that like classic hero follow-up, going for +1 Stalkers. Instead, just regular vanilla Stalkers in a way. The Forge just being delayed a little bit.
TriGGeR says, no, you're brain dead.
True.
Got him.
So yeah, he's still going for this style. It does mean that +1 is going to be delayed here for TriGGeR. We'll see if that comes into play because MeomaikA, it looks like he's done droning.
Yeah, very nice revelation there. Does get a good look at the Hydra count. Does manage to avert disaster with his move out there. That would have been pretty nasty if he got that surrounded by Lynx. So he does go back into a bit more of a defensive posture, and he is probing his third up fully, getting +1, getting Blink, all the things that he needs, even a force base.
Yeah, even gets a massive revelation off on the entire Ling army, but we have more Lings behind this as well. MeomaikA, the time to attack is now, he says. He has a couple of options. He can go for the third, the fourth base. Ooh, actually TriGGeR, he cancels it prematurely, making sure that he has those resources to throw down shield batteries instead.
Yeah, I do like that choice. Those batteries were very well timed. They seemed like they were finishing in perfect time if Meo had committed to the fight. Even has the sentries hidden back there in the mineral line, so they're nice and safe if they're needed for force fields, and he will start to engage this army out on the front.
Yeah, and even though those shield batteries were amazing and beautiful, they're not in range. We see a mass surround here from MeomaikA.
Yes, and Blink just finishes then. A bit of a miscalculation from TriGGeR. Takes the fight and gets surrounded just before Blink is finished, and this is a lot of damage coming out from MeomaikA. We do see those sentries, as I mentioned before, do manage to zone out and protect this shield battery overcharge, but MeomaikA will just take the other option. He says, if you're going to protect this side, I'll take the other side.
Exactly, and you know what? The wall is not a wall. The Lings, they get into the main base, they get into the natural as well. The Stalkers are fighting without +1. Again, a bit of an anti-timing. They don't have the upgrades that they need. They don't have the numbers that they need as MeomaikA is breaking on through.
Yeah, I thought these Hydras were just being used to zone out the army, but they actually win the fight in their own right, while the Lings in the main are just ravaging the probes, and that is enough for GG.
Just like that, MeomaikA, he fights back on Tropical Scarface. He shows him his little friends, and he's fighting back in the series.
Is that allowed? We've seen some crazy things tonight. We've seen firm Schweens. We've seen little friends. This is a little bit of a inappropriate Sparkling Tuna Cup. I don't know if I will return.
Oh, mate, it's because of you, Bobby. What do you mean?
Wow, the gaslighting again. He's like, I never all in. I just defend, and some probes go missing along the way.
Who can explain that? Who can explain that? As we are not having a 3-0 here, not in the grand finals of Sparkling Tuna Cup. No, MeomaikA is fighting back, and you love to see it. You know, as much as a 3-0 would have been impressive to see, I want to see a more back and forth. I want to see a longer, drawn-out series.
Yeah, absolutely. Very happy to see this not end in a 3-0 sweep. MeomaikA fights back, does make necessary adjustments. I really like the changes that he made in that game to go for more drone heavy before he went for his attack, and the attack was very well executed. But, you know, a little bit unfortunate for TriGGeR that he just got his blink timing a little bit wrong, only like 4 or 5 seconds in that.
Definitely, definitely. Oh boy, and we'll see what our players have in store for us here as we load in to Waterfall ESL. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our Canadian Pro Tools player representing Team Super. It is TriGGeR.
And spawning up in the top right-hand corner, it is the Blue Zerg playing for Juggernauts. He has been popping off lately, but he faces a formidable opponent, and he is down 2 match points. Can he bring it back? It is the Vietnamese Zerg, MeomaikA.
Once again, going for that pool first, but we'll see if he commits a little bit more because we are on Waterfall, one of the smaller maps, or the smallest map in the map pool. Oh boy, does favor aggression from our players.
Yeah, I do see we do have Cyril watching over the base of MeomaikA. I'm not sure if he's ever seen anything like this before, so I'm glad that he's spinning around. He's turning his back. He's like, I don't want to see that.
Oh god, this is not what I intended. This is not what this is not what I wanted for my race. Aye.
Yeah, but meanwhile, we do see a full scout coming out. He does see the pool first. He does see the gas timing. So, very good scouting here again from TriGGeR. Knows who he's up against. I like that he's been choosing to gate scout rather than to hatch block. It's a good adjustment for the opponent that he's facing. And he does get a good look at everything that's going on and even gets the probe scout out this time.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a map like Waterfall, I feel like scouting is that much more important. He confirms the pool first. He himself is going for his own wall. Zealot is already on the way as well. Just want to make sure that there wasn't a 12 pool again, so he's fully aware that that isn't happening. Knows the potential for MeomaikA to do that if he's allowed to. So, yeah, solid. Just checking of each other here so far.
Yeah, TriGGeR's gone for a very safe opening here. Does opt to make the Zealot straight away. Especially with the 3 building wall off here. I think that's a good choice, and it does allow him to get his scout out a little bit early, but he does actually see these extra links here, so did manage to hide his scout enough to see what was going on in the natural and main base of MeomaikA.
Yeah. And now he is safe and sound here to tech on up. We do have the Stargate on the way for TriGGeR here in the main base, so another Stargate opener. Again, pretty standard here in this matchup. No Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts or anything like that. TriGGeR, he's not that kind of player, at least not yet in this series. And he's going to be able to move out with his Adept to get a scout off, and I think, again, this is pretty important. He needs to see if there's another fast layer.
Yeah, I mean, I do like this choice by TriGGeR. The Stargate is the safer opener of the two, and against a very unpredictable player like MeomaikA, there's no reason not to just go for the safer option every time.
Exactly, and again, he's just confirming there is no layer at the natural. He's confirming there's no second gas either. He hasn't seen the third base. He's just checking the triangular third location, not the linear third, so he's still a little bit in the dark about that. But other than that, he's, able to get eyes on quite a bit. Oh boy.
Yeah, we are seeing that layer opening again, and sorry, I'm just a little distracted by the chat as well. They are discussing various actors, and it seems like we have confirmation that, in fact, the actor in the movie was El Cappuccino. So, there you go.
Who the hell is El Cappuccino?
Is the guy with the little friend.
Ay. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't make the rules.
Meanwhile, here we go. We do have the Oracle coming across the map. Third base has been confirmed. The gas will be scattered here at the natural base as well, which is quite odd to see. Oh my god, the Spore dishing out so much damage to that Oracle.
Yeah, very aggressive move coming out there to dive the Oracles and the Adepts at the same time. I think for 3 workers, probably not the kind of outcome he was looking for. Almost loses the Oracle as well, so would have been quite disastrous if he lost the Oracle. But as it is, not the best trade ever. Meanwhile, these Lings are doing the wall check, and the wall is a wall, but they will get a probe for their troubles.
Yeah, exactly. They're checking for the third base location of TriGGeR. They will find it, but the SimCity is looking a little bit too good here. Lings aren't going to find any damage whatsoever. What's also important is that TriGGeR didn't get into the main. So he did see the gas at the natural, which is a bit of a tell, but he didn't see the fast lair.
Yeah, meanwhile, the fast layer is for the Hydras once again. Very good discipline by TriGGeR there not to pop the Oracle energy there to attack these Lings. It was a little bit of a bait, I think, and he is waiting for a better opportunity. Even only pops the one Oracle there, which is really nice, but he's going to lose these Adepts. A little bit of mispositioning here.
Yeah, MeomaikA, really nice dancing from him, just poking back and forth time and time again against these Adepts, trying to bait out Revelations, trying to bait out Pulsar Beams, and he will catch both of those Adepts in the end. Even being hyper aggressive here, just being very annoying. Actually going to be able to deal some hull damage here to this Cyber Core. As all this is happening, it's a distraction because the Hydras, they're coming.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if the Hydras and the Lings are coming from MeomaikA, it's a matter of when. And he's done a really good job in this series of mixing up the timing. And considering all the damage and disruption he's got with his Lings, even misdirecting the Oracles here, this is quite a nice timing that he's got going here. So he's just going to force a bit of commitment to defense at the front. And
oh my God.
I don't believe there's actually a shield battery here.
Again, like TriGGeR, he never saw the Hydrogen, he never saw the lair either. He saw the third base. He didn't realize how committed MeomaikA was going to be to this. Meanwhile, here we go. In a panic, he's throwing down cannons, he's throwing down shield batteries, he's trying to prepare himself here at the natural base, but is it too late?
Yeah, realizes the gravity of the situation, is fully defending the natural, but I do believe that Meo is going to be able to commit on this natural and then turn to fight the forces on the third if he sees fit.
Cybercore is going to go down, so even though we're going to have Blink in a couple of seconds, no more Stalkers are going to be morphed in here for TriGGeR. Meanwhile, the reinforcements are being cut off here. MeomaikA is going to have a hard time reinforcing this position, but he's breaking into the natural.
Yeah, while he is doing a good job of cutting off those reinforcements, we do see 21 probes going down. The cannon and the battery were just not in time, and they do go down as well. And MeomaikA is setting up a foothold in this natural where he can continue to rally in and eventually start to attack the main, and that is exactly what he will do now. And there is no clear way for TriGGeR to defend.
Yeah, again, TriGGeR was in the dark, and just like that, he gets into the main base as well. The Oracles are out of energy. We have a couple of Stalkers coming in. They do have Blink, they do have +1, so they are well upgraded. There just aren't that many of them.
Yeah, very nice defensive micro with those probes, but we do eventually see the Lings and Hydras get on top of them, and with the insane DPS of this unit combo, they are just shredded, and we have seen 49 probes go down. This is irrecoverable damage.
Exactly, and the Cybercore was never remade. GG gets called, and MeomaikA ties up the series, and we are going to the ace match.
Wow. 2 brutal games in a row coming out from MeomaikA. He has shown his versatility with the timing of these Hydra Ling timings. The one that we saw earlier in that second game really didn't look too good for him, but he's managed to make the adjustments in his timings, and he gets himself straight back into this, and we're on to an ace match.
Let's go. We're going all the way to game number 5, and really that's the way this should be. As you were saying, MeomaikA, he's been going for a lot of Hydra timings, but what's important is that they have been very different from each other. He's been getting there in a little bit of a different way, and even this time, TriGGeR was kind of bamboozled a little bit, you know? He thought that there was a more macro opener. He thought that only Lings were being aggressive. His Oracles, as a result, were forced to stay at home, and he just couldn't scout across the map.
Yeah, and we are once again coming in to look at this map that we haven't really had too much of today either. And I'm a little worried for TriGGeR with this particular map, because this is a map where there's a lot of shenanigans possible. It is Moondance.
Oh yeah, here we go. One of the more unorthodox maps in the map pool, and that does happen here in these best of 5s. We've seen Waterfall, we've seen Tropical Scarface. We are going to dance in the moonlight.
But dancing in the moonlight.
Also,
this is.
look, I was just gonna call you out. I just quickly double check, because I'm pretty sure I know my actors. In Taxi Driver, it was Robert De Niro. Okay.
Yeah.
There was no cappuccino.
El Cappuccino.
No. Robert De Niro was not in Scarface.
Anyway. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map.
Taxi Driver?
I have it on DVD. I'll tell you about that in a second. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map, it is the Canadian Protoss playing for Team Super. It is TriGGeR.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player himself going for another 12-pool opener, representing the Juggernauts. It is MeomaikA.
Yeah, so I'll try to tell you quickly before this 12 pool starts popping off. So I had this housemate that was like obsessed with DVDs. He'd always go to cash converters and come back with like 10 to 15 DVDs because you can get them for about $2 each.
Yeah.
So he'd just go every few days and just see what they had. And he was really into classic movies. So he just had this crazy DVD collection. And the day came when he moved out and he just left them here, which is really weird because they're like his pride and joy, this DVD collection. So we're calling him and we're like, oh, we'll bring the DVDs back to your house. Like, we'll deliver them to your dad or whatever. Like, you don't even need to go pick them up. And he was just like, like, nah, he just didn't want them. So we ended up with like, I think maybe 200 to 300 DVDs. And like some of them are good, but they're just like random DVDs. Like, I don't know what you're going to do with them. So I went and picked out all the ones that I wanted. And now they're on my bookshelf and I haven't watched any of them.
And this is when we find out that among that collection on your bookshelf, we have The Little Mermaid, we have Scarface, we have Taxi Driver.
100% Scarface and Taxi Driver were in there. He like really liked gangster movies. Yeah. So I used to watch gangster movies with him. We used to watch like Gangs of New York and Casino. Yeah. So I've seen those movies. Those are really good movies. But I was pretty drunk, so I can't really remember them.
Taxi Driver isn't even a gangster movie.
Yeah, so we didn't watch it. That's why I haven't seen it.
God damn, shaking my head. But 300 DV, that's a lot of space. That's like a lot of bulk. Not gonna lie, like you can. It's
pretty dumb. It feels like I have a whole bookshelf, and that's after I've gone through only the ones that I wanted, and then through a few moves, probably halved which ones I took. But one of them is Taxi Driver. I know for sure I have Taxi Driver.
There you go. Speaking of Taxi Driver, MeomaikA did open up with a 12 pool opener, but he didn't commit to too many lings. He's chilling here at home. He respects the defensive position of TriGGeR. He forced 2 of these zealots out. What's interesting is that TriGGeR is keeping both zealots at home. He's only moving out with 2 adepts, so he's playing this out very safe, very cautious here in the ace match.
I really like how TriGGeR's played this out. He's done something a little bit different with his units each time. And when you're playing against such a tricky player as MeomaikA, it is important that you keep them on their toes as well. Because if you do something too predictable, they will get kind of a taste for your style of play and find a way to punish it.
Definitely. Speaking of punishing it, we just see both adepts trying to go into the mineral line. We do have a quick spore there for MeomaikA. So far hasn't lost a single drone. Ooh, and the shade does finish just in time. So MeomaikA does get away with his greed so far, as he has been droning up as much as he can. What's interesting though is that he's still on 2 bases. I'm wondering when, if ever, he will take a 3rd.
Yeah, nice micro there from Meo just to deny any drone damage there, and he will just let the spore finish, which is actually just in time for this Oracle. But it will be important for this Oracle as well to check this back base and see if there's a 3rd being hidden. And the 3rd is taken, actually.
Yeah, interesting move here for MeomaikA to actually take the back base as opposed to one of the more kind of financially viable bases here when it comes to the minerals and gas. So yeah, interesting choice, but I guess it kind of makes sense because, you know, MeomaikA, he doesn't really care too much about droning.
Honestly, I almost feel like he's taking this base just because the Oracle was going to scout it. Because he took it at around 413. Like, I don't know what you're going to do with that, but he does lose an Overlord there. That's quite annoying. That's a hefty supply block.
Oh, exactly. It's going to force a couple of Overlords out from MeomaikA. Meanwhile, I don't know if you noticed, but TriGGeR, he's doing what Protoss does best on Moondance, and this is why we veto it as Zerg players. Asher, exclamation mark, Funada, Asher, because we see a 2nd Stargate and a Fleet Beacon.
Yeah, okay. That... I can say this, like...
this happens every time I play Protoss on this map, okay?
The dead space behind the natural is insane as well. Like, if you went for a, I haven't seen it yet, but Tempest? There was a build that MaxPax... Yeah, Tempest. There's a build that MaxPax was playing around with for quite a while where he does this, might even be this exact build, like a fast 2 Stargate and Tempest. Yeah. And you can send 1 Tempest to each side. So 1 will sit behind the dead space in the main, and 1 will sit behind the dead space in the natural. And I'm pretty sure they one-shot drones.
Yeah, it's disgusting, mate. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's good that you brought up max packs because, mate, we got the North American max packs right here, right now. The Tempests are going to be on the way, and what's a little bit terrifying is that this has not been scouted. The Overlord was taken out. We do see that MeomaikA is struggling to figure out if there is a third base or not, and there will be, but it'll be here in the pocket instead. These Lings do see the Tempest coming, though.
Yeah, so losing that Overlord is actually quite punishing here for MeomaikA because he's not going to be able to sneak it in on that suicide mission to check for that third base. And we do actually even see a third Tempest coming up for TriGGeR. So pretty interesting opening coming out from TriGGeR here. I'm used to only seeing 2 Tempests when Protosses go for this build, but we're seeing 4 now, and air weapons even started up. So I think he's expecting Corruptors as a response, and he actually wants to fight them.
Yeah, and you know what? He can't just fight Corruptors. He can also fight the Queens as well. Like, they take so much damage as we see them one-shotting these drones. 2 drones already going down. Lings are trying to do what they can, but again, on Moondance, we can just hard defend here at the front of this natural base. We're safe on 3 bases, and the Tempests are here behind the mineral line, forcing basically zero mining here at the natural.
Yeah, this combination of the Oracle and the Tempest is absolutely disgusting. When you have this Revelation, the range of the Tempest, I believe it's 12 on the ground and 14 by air, so there's really nothing that you can do to defend it. And as we were talking about before, we do have the second Tempest going into the main here, and it does take quite a bit of damage, but we are seeing this start to snowball.
Yeah, and I'm sure MeomaikA doesn't like this, but he's forced to be the defender. That isn't typically what MeomaikA's forte is. He loses both the Queen at the natural and in the main base. It looks like he will get a kill on 1 Tempest, and that is pretty significant, but only 1 Tempest. Oh, he gets a Phoenix as well for his troubles. 2 more Stargates are thrown down, and we see just mass Skytosses coming out from TriGGeR.
I think he might have actually got the other Tempest as well. I do believe there's only...
They recalled.
1 Tempest left? Oh, they recalled. Oh, he did get it out. Oh, look at that health.
Ooh, just
on 7 health.
Yeah, the Tempest did come out. We do see TriGGeR trying to catch them, but with the help of the shield battery and the rest of these Void Rays, the Tempests are safe.
Yeah, we do see the Flux Veins as well coming out from TriGGeR, so he will have the speed for those Void Rays, which is... Honestly, it looks so silly. Like... The first time I tried it as Protoss to get this upgrade, the Void Rays are so fast. It's absolutely crazy. And this used to be such an oppressive style. We saw that when this was more meta in PvZ.
Yeah, and it's coming back a little bit here on some of these new maps in the current map pool, so be aware of it. Oh boy, and now MeomaikA's forced to play the way that TriGGeR wants him to play. Like, this position will not be broken. He's actually going into Hydras. Interesting choice. This is going to come out of left field a little bit, but checking the vision, actually the Hydrogen was revealed earlier, so TriGGeR should be aware.
Yeah, and he does see the Hydras again here with the Oracle. Considering he's already going into carriers and he has started the +2 air weapons, I actually really don't like this for MeomaikA. Hydras tend to have a pretty short shelf life against the carriers, and once there's a critical mass of carriers, they don't actually trade too well.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Thankfully, the carrier count isn't there yet. We only have 1 carrier for the time being, and we have a second on the way. The problem is that Hydras, like, they typically crumble against splash damage, and there is no splash damage. But we have a lot of Tempests, and Tempests, they can just outrange Hydras. They can just fight behind force fields, behind shield batteries, behind cannons. It's going to be really difficult for these Hydras to get anywhere near these Tempests.
Yeah, for anyone in the chat who is not familiar with the term smooge, we're going to use it in a sentence here right now. So, the Zerg is being smooged right now.
Yeah. Wait, what is this, a live VIP ladder game? What's it?
MeomaikA was just, hanging out with his beaches on the beaches. He was having a good time. He just wanted to get this series over with, do some crazy cheeses and get back to his beaches. But TriGGeR says, no, you are trapped in here with me. And MeomaikA says, smooge.
Smooge, mate. So with this, obviously MeomaikA is working on 1 strong push. You were talking about how Hydras don't have a very strong shelf life, and they don't. Basically, you have 1 strong attack, and that is it. He's also opting not to go into any spellcasters. There's no Infestation Pit, which means we don't have Infestors for Microbial Shroud, which would honestly be pretty good right now. Like, Microbial Shroud would be amazing to support, or Vipers for Abducts, which would be a little bit more difficult because of the Sorry, because of the Tempest, I should say. Instead, he's just going for a brute force attack. We'll see if he can pull it off.
Yeah, Meo is extremely all in with this, but we see these 3 extra carriers from... oh, very nice pick off there. These 3 extra carriers that will be so instrumental in this defense are still not out. He only has 2 carriers here to defend, and the interceptors will just be shredded by this Hydra count.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I do like for TriGGeR here that the fight is being taken at his batteries and his cannons. So he is starting to sway the tides here.
Yeah, the interceptors are all being dealt with. The Hydra count, though, is being thinned out. The cannons are doing a lot of work, and as the Hydras fall, there's not really much else behind this. The Tempests have done a great job at kiting against this. Sure, a couple of Tempests have fallen, but again, the Hydra count dwindles.
Oh. Yeah, I really was expecting MeomaikA to divert his attack to the natural, and he does see the gravity of the situation, and GG is called.
GG, well played. When you go for a Hydra push like that, again, it's a one and done deal that was designed to end the game, and it was looking okay for him, but the defensive position was looking a little bit too strong there, and congratulations, because TriGGeR is our Sparkling Tuna Cup 19 champion.
Yeah, it's very well deserved, very well played by TriGGeR. We saw very nice play coming out from him, often taking the role of the defender, which is, you know, sometimes the harder thing to do in StarCraft, but it is ultimately, I would say, can be the champion role in some ways. It can be a way to have like a very, very strong, solid style, and TriGGeR has proved himself a very strong, solid player.
Oh yeah, he really has. You know, TriGGeR, he is of course the rising star in the North American scene. He's one of the best players there. I did see some other people in the chat saying like, hey, you know, he's up there with Neeb and Estrella, and he even beat Estrella a while back.
Chat is amazing. MeomaikA says it's not over yet, TriGGeR, and TriGGeR says, yes it is.
Oh god, I love it. TriGGeR's like, this, it's finished, this was the finale, and MeomaikA's like, for now.
Mate, they heard all the movies. MeomaikA said, I want to be like El Cappuccino. I want to be a big movie star, and he's bringing a bit of drama to this. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of a rematch some stage, maybe in a latest Sparkling Tuna Cup.
Yeah, I would love to see a rivalry form between these two players. Again, TriGGeR, he is playing in this tournament only because he's trying to adapt his sleep schedule for TSL, for Team Liquid Star League, which is also going to be at around this time in a couple of days. So because of that, may as well play in Sparkling Tuna Cup. Hopefully we see more of him though in future weeks, even despite TSL, you know, not necessarily being run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once you stuff up your sleep schedule once, you can just leave it stuffed up and you can become full G-Gen. So we'll see what happens there.
We shall see. Again, GG, well played to all of our players here. The other thing I want to say is, again, a massive shout out to MeomaikA because he made TriGGeR work for it. He brought it all the way back. He was down 0-2, man. He was down 0-2, and I thought it was going to be a 3-0. I was really scared for MeomaikA, but he brought it all the way to game number 5, so really well done there. And yeah, I mean, if any other map, it could have been a little bit different. MeomaikA just feeling the full brunt of Sky Toss on Moondance. Oh boy. It was I was smudging, mate. I was smudging. GG.
Yeah, very well done. MeomaikA has been popping off lately. He's been doing so well in all these different tournaments. So yeah, this is a nice result for him, and it's very cool to see him doing so well.
It really is.
But at the same, yeah, of course, and I'm sure he'll want to have been the champion, but the more that he participates in these and the closer he gets to that trophy, the more I think we'll see him lifting it as well, so not to be discouraged.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see him going toe-to-toe with some of the best that the world has to offer. Like, we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but like MeomaikA's run to the finals wasn't easy. Like, we were counting him out early on. Like, he went up against Radita, he went up against Nicaract as well, two very strong European players in their own right, and MeomaikA just defies all odds, you know. He just somehow finds a way to win anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. SEA, very strong region. I love that he's representing the region so well. It's very cool.
It is really cool. It is really cool. And with that of course is going to be the end of this week's tournament. As a reminder, because I do see a lot of people are maybe tuning in for the first time, this is Sparkling Tuna Cup. You can see our tuna right there as well underneath me. He's amazing. He's beautiful. We even have a brand new emote. I can see Soundo rocking it in the chat. We do see the tuna rocking it out there to some tunes. Yeah, this is a weekly tournament open to all regions, and because of that, players from Europe, South Korea, North America, Southeast Asia, Oceania, they all come together here for this tournament from all corners of the world. And because of that, we get a lot of, like, you know, different regions face off against each other. It's really cool and it's really unique.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see in the chat as well, we do have a match arena for this tournament as well. So if anyone wants to contribute, which we have had some very generous people already doing tonight, that does go towards the players. So I'm sure they're very grateful for the people who have contributed already. So thank you again to those people, especially to Soundo with a very big donation.
Yes, thank you so much, Soundo. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support as always. Again, you can support the tournament directly if you want to via Match Arena. You don't have to. It's just there if you want to. And you can also support the channel in a couple of other ways. You can subscribe. You can get our emotes. Again, we have 2 brand new emotes. We didn't get to give them too much time in the sun, but yes, we do have our tuna jamming to some music, and we also have a thonking duck. We added them just today. So enjoy our new emotes. Again, all the money that we make on Twitch and on Patreon, it goes towards our players. It goes towards tournaments like Sparkling Tuna Cup. We're able to run these events thanks to everyone in the chat, thanks to all of our supporters. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. And like, where can people find more of you?
Oh, thank you. You can find me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I stream throughout the week. I didn't stream today, but that's because we had a tournament cast, and I knew that I had to deal with Asher, and I just I needed to maintain my mental state for as long as I could. So I didn't stream today, but I did stream yesterday, and I'll stream tomorrow. Just some ladder sessions. Our road to Masters 2 is what we're trying to go for, and it's a bumpy road. There's a lot of smoging involved, not a lot of raging. That's not really what we do there. We try to have fun and we try and enjoy ourselves, and if you want to be a part of that, you can follow me there. Otherwise, Asher, why don't you tell the people where they can find you? Because, mate, someone got some social media.
I already had it. All right. I don't actually. I'm gonna have to look at the announcement because I don't know what my Twitter is. So you can find me at AsherBrother1 on Twitter.
There you go. Follow Asher on Twitter. He doesn't tweet. Make him tweet. Make him tweet about his cat Rufus. That's there are people who don't know, but the cat that Asher is displaying right here, right now, that's his cat.
It's actually not me. It's actually my cat. I don't know if anyone knows this. I don't know if this is a big crazy reveal. I didn't think we were going to reveal that today live. But, you just jumped the gun. That's fine. Was that a
spoiler? Were we saving that for a future movie?
No, it's all right. You're in charge of me now. You're my boss, apparently. Just do whatever you want. All right.
I'm sorry, but yeah, we do have the race reveal, I guess. Asher is not a cat. Species reveal. Sorry.
First we reveal I'm not a cat, and you're like, and what race are you?
Human, puppy. Human is what I was going for. Not Italian, apparently.
No.
Yes,
definitely not Spanish.
Definitely. Hey, your Spanish wasn't that bad, okay? It wasn't that bad. It's pretty good. I was impressed.
Good.
But yeah, you can follow him on Twitter. Make him tweet at him. Make him post pictures of his cat, because the cat is beautiful. It's a beautiful beast. It deserves to have eyes on it on Twitter. Maybe.
True. Maybe he'll stop trying to kill me. maybe. Unlikely.
Unlikely. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. If you're not interested in our solo content, then check us out here on the Cranky Ducklings Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We're all over the place on all the social medias where you will be you'll be notified when we go live via our announcements. So check us out there on social media. All of our VODs are uploaded to YouTube, so if you can't watch us live, and if you enjoyed our casting, and if you want to tune into more of it, then check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of content there. We have hundreds, actually I think thousands of VODs on YouTube right now, so you can check that out. We have plenty of StarCraft available for you, and with that, thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you so much to all of our Patreon supporters. I hope everyone enjoyed the tournaments, the players, the casters, the cats. Asher, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the night?
I just want to say, stay firm, my little friends.
Can you say that? Can you? Stay firm, my little friends. Hasta la vista, baby. Oh, God. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.